We're live.
We did it.
All right.
Yay.
Great. Love to see it.
Yeah.
What's new with you guys?
Nothing.
I'm not as exhausted today. It's a nice change of pace.
Nice. Way to
I
go.
did it. So past week, Reese and I just had, I don't know what it was. We just felt completely drained of energy. Like we felt sick. And I don't know if it's because the weather was bouncing around everywhere or what, but it was really bad for a while.
Okay. But it seems you've turned a corner.
Hopefully, in like a day or two, the weather's going to drop another like 15 degrees. So,
Jeez.
like
Yeah.
today was like plus 15. I think it's tomorrow or Sunday is high of 3, low of -5 or something like that. And snow again.
Calgary for you.
Yep.
Man, I feel like it's been a while since we've had this much snowfall in April. Maybe I'm just misremembering at this point, but I swear like last year was not this delayed getting to spring.
I always remembered like May, June was pretty rainy. That's kind of what I remember. But
yeah, rainy for
been
sure,
years
but
since-
like it's all been snow.
Okay. You know, all anything new with you?
Nope.
Nope. I watched. You must have watched the new Falcon and Winter Soldier and Invincible though.
Yeah, last week. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about those?
Yeah, I still don't care about one of them, and I just want the other one every day, basically. I can't wait for more Invincible. That's gonna end too soon.
For sure. Yeah, I haven't looked into if anything's been greenlit for multiple seasons or anything, but I'm hoping so.
Same. I
Falcon
will
and
say
Winter Soldier, I thought that
it ended on a good note. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Well, not a good note. That's a bad word to use. It ended on an interesting note.
I don't even really remember what the ending of this one was. I remember the ending of the last one with like the summoning circle kind of stuff going on.
The summoning circle.
Unsummoning.
Oh.
I don't want to get into like spoilers.
Invincible. No, I'm talking about Winter Soldier. Ended on a, like I was saying,
Okay.
good is not the right word, but it ended on that dude murdered that dude. Just straight up.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Straight up fucking murdered him.
Honestly, I thought that last episode it was kind of messy. There's just a lot going on. Like there's so many story threads happening, and it just feels
That
like
series is
juggling
messy.
a bit much.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm still enjoying it and having a lot of fun when I'm watching it, but it was just like, wait, now they're introducing these characters? Like, didn't we already have like
so many
people pop? Yeah, there's a lot going on in it.
There's so many characters, yeah. But that dude murdered that dude, which is pretty intense for a TV show, MCU Disney thing. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, good final shot for sure.
Yep.
I'm curious to see what'll happen. Loki, I'm excited for that. I'm still looking forward to Loki.
I think that'll be fun. Yeah.
Did you finally watch the trailer by any chance?
No, I'm not going to.
Oh, okay. Sure. Quick shout out for a movie I watched. The new Shaun the Sheep.
Okay.
Movie titled Farmageddon.
Uh-huh. Okay.
This is from the Aardman Company, so Wallace and Gromit fame. So you got some claymation. I was a fan of the first Shaun the Sheep, and I've been waiting for Farmageddon to come out, and I was like, where did that happen? Just assuming it got delayed with everything else.
Yeah.
I think came out last February on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't even COVID time yet. Like, what was I doing? How did I miss that?
I didn't even know that, so okay.
Yeah, so that's on Netflix if people want to watch some good claymation. I just want more claymation in my life. I think that's kind of what I learned.
Yeah,
that's a good. That's a good
trailer
movie.
last week and now this, for sure.
Yeah, Harold Halibut for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and watch some of the Leica films again. Coraline.
Yeah.
It's got to enjoy some of that. But yeah, so Shaun the Sheep, Farmageddon, I recommend it. That's on Netflix for some silly fun times.
Yeah.
With that said, why don't we do the podcast? Is April 15th. I'm Sean Booker.
Paul Fleck.
John Wheeler.
And John, you got a lot going on. What have you been playing?
Well, since I was feeling sick last week, usually that means I end up actually having time to play some games. So I played a bunch of games I meant to get to for a while, all somewhat retro styled. I guess except for the last one. I played Oniken and Odallus: The Dark Call. These are two games done by the studio that made Blazing Chrome somewhat recently. This was their earlier games. Oniken is basically a Ninja Gaiden or Shinobi style hack and slash, walk left or right, cut enemies up, boss fights, etc. It was really cool. It was fun, but I had a weird glitch with the game because I was playing it on Switch where the dialogue for the cutscenes wasn't appearing.
Oh,
so
weird.
all the cutscenes, so the cutscenes were showing still or moving images, and then there would be no dialogue, so it would just hang on this image for a while. So at first, because of the way they had paced the cutscenes, I thought, oh, maybe they're just doing like a dramatic, like I'm just gonna have no text. You just need to like figure out what's going on just through the images, kind of deal. And then at the beginning of one of the stages, it hung on an image for 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, there must be something wrong here. And it turns out I had to reselect the language of the game, and then it put the dialogue back.
Oh, weird.
So that was a weird glitch, but the game was fine otherwise. Like, it didn't affect the actual gameplay. It played good.
Yeah.
After I beat that, I went to Odallus: The Dark Call, which is a Metroidvania of sorts. But it also is very much looks like a computer game of that era, of like the early 90s. You are a dude named Haggis, and your town has been overrun by demons. So now you need to figure out where your son is, and also how to stop all these demons from like taking over the town you live in. You run around finding like pieces of a diamond called the Odallus, and every time you pick up one, you feel uneasy about it. You get new abilities, new armors, and stuff like that. And your combat is a little stiff, like you're like a slow, like long swing, so it's very slow and labored. So you have to like think your attacks through a bit more, but it still plays like an 8-bit style game. And that was fun too. That one also had a weird glitch where one of the bosses was supposed to have a shake effect happen, but instead the shake effect got amplified to a point where your character on a screen this big would appear here and here. It would keep flipping your positions back and forth as if it was shaking. So like, you know how normally a shake would just be like a
tweeting about this one, right?
Yeah, this is the one I tweeted out. Yeah, you're positioning like spaced out like both ends of the screen, which was just a weird glitch for the boss fights, which made it impossible to do. I got through it after a while, but it was just very nauseating. But that was the only weird glitch I had like that. I had some other out of bounds ones, but like that's normal in my mind anyways. But that was also a fun game. They were both fun games. They just had a lot of weird glitches, like they needed to be double checked for some reason.
Yeah.
Then I tried out a game called Dogarai, where you are a samurai dog, and it's like a Game Boy, like an original Game Boy style game.
Okay, so like everything's green. Okay, got it.
Yeah, everything's green. It's like two color. You're right. It actually starts off as green, and then you can pick different colors, or if you leave it on default, it'll pick colors based on whatever stage you pick. It played like an original Game Boy game, like an early one, and it's somewhat stiff and a little unforgiving. It was okay, but I didn't bother continuing it. I beat the other two, but I never bothered beating Dogarai.
You playing all these on Switch?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the last thing I played was a game called Kunai.
Nice.
So I think this came out early last year.
A year or two ago. It's not too old. Yeah. Kunai is a Metroidvania where you're playing as a tablet, like an iPad, but you're also a samurai, and you have to go fight other computer robots that are trying to kill off all of humanity or what's left of it. And the cool thing about the game,
or a ninja?
Samurai.
Oh,
because you definitely attack with the katana, and you definitely like are very aggressive. But yeah, like it's like where they say samurai, but you kind of move like a ninja. Because you get an item, you get 2 kunai, one for each hand, and they work like bionic commando arms or grappling hooks, where you just like extend them out and then you can swing on them. Or you can use them both together and you can slingshot upwards. The momentum in the game is actually really fun once you get used to it. The movement is really good. But I haven't touched it in a bit because, again, it glitched on me like the other 2 games did, and I couldn't escape a cutscene. And when I did, I had to skip the cutscene when I was in the middle of it, and it disabled my ability to pause and look at the map. So I haven't loaded it up since. So hopefully that was not a permanent issue. But the gameplay was fun. I know, apparently. But it was fun.
The only game that didn't glitch on you was Doggerai, the one that you are not going back to.
Yeah, go figure, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I play a little bit of Pac-Man 99, but, just a little bit of that. That's all I've been playing.
All right, Paul.
Cool. I picked up and played Kaze and the Wild Masks and finished it the next day because that game is extraordinarily short. It's 5 to 6 hours long for 100%. That game is Donkey Kong Country. So if you like those games and you want a new one of those, you should pick this up because it's kind of shameless in how much it's Donkey Kong Country. Like, there's literally Dixie's, like, glide is one of the main things you do. It feels a lot like the platforming in Donkey Kong Country. There's barrel-like implements that shoot you around. There's straight up that, like, bramble stage or whatever where you're floating around with spiky vines everywhere and things in your way. That game.
Is there a minecart?
There is a minecart level of sorts. Okay. I don't believe it's a minecart, but it's the same idea of you like.
There's a silhouette stage.
I mean, that's the Return series that has those.
I don't think there is. No.
Okay.
Yeah. The game's cool. It's fine. It's $10 cheaper American on PC than on Switch, which means it's $20 cheaper for Canadians on Steam, because Steam has regional pricing, the Switch does not, so it's $40 on Switch and $20 on Steam. That is not a $40 game. $20, I felt pretty good about it. Like I said, I couldn't stop playing it. It was really, really fun. 100% completion in about 6 hours, and I was going pretty slow about things and whatnot, so it's a neat little game. If you like Donkey Kong Country games, it might be worth looking into. It's pretty hard to like talk about it without saying that it's like Donkey Kong, because it's so like it. It almost feels like a ROM hack, which is cool. That's fine to me. But yeah, I guess more importantly, maybe I started Narita Boy.
Oh yeah, I played a bunch more of this after I briefly mentioned it last week.
Yeah, that game is definitely style over substance in a lot of ways, but there's a decent amount of stuff going on mechanically, but like none of it matters because I don't care about any of it. Like, it's kind of in the way for me to see more set piece things and like cool new backgrounds and whatever the fuck's going on in that story.
Actually, I would love for you to try and tell me what is happening. What is the premise of Narita Boy?
So, Narita Boy is, you are playing a kid that gets sucked into a computer world, and the computer world is created by one they call the Creator. And one of his programs or whatever, the Red program, because it's always the Fire Nation and everything, went rogue and was trying to take over the, what the hell is it called now? The Technochrome or something like that. I can't remember. The Trichrome?
Something like that.
I think it's the
Trichroma or something like that.
Trichroma, which is just 3 beams of energy or light in this world that are like live in harmony.
I don't know if you're right or wrong because I barely know what's going on.
They're like the essences that be. Like, the yellow one is like desert and heat and that sort of thing. The blue one is like calm, peacefulness and water, and the red is like power and blah blah blah. It's really fucking. How far did you get? I am about to finish the desert area, the yellow.
Okay, so I'm just a little bit past you. I just started the blue area.
Okay.
Did you get to the horse?
I have to get the horse still. So I'll tell you what I did in the yellow area is I went to the bar or whatever. Well, you go to a place that they say it's full of magic, and it's actually where the creator would go after like hard weeks of work programming to get drunk.
Okay.
And I kind of like
the back room, right?
The back room, and I saw the one dude that you meet that you can summon every now and then. I went to his bedroom to get the piece of the memory of the creator's memory.
Yeah. I also love during all this, every now and then you just go to like, 1980s Japan as you relive this person's memories, and it's just like this short walking simulator.
And you know it's going to be terrible. That is setting up for like the most depressing fucking life ever. It's setting it up.
Well, and like the place you go to before you go into each of these memories, there's like a weird giant baby in the background that's slowly growing, and the imagery is bonkers in this game.
It's crazy.
Every time you guys describe this game, I understand less and less of it, I feel.
Hey, same.
It's on Game Pass. You should really give it a try, John. You might just like the weird like 80s Tron thing it's going for.
That's the thing to like. I will say, at first I was just like, I don't know what Sean's talking about. This jumping feels okay. And it does, until you have to platform. The platforming in that game is fucking god-awful. It's terrible.
But you barely need to platform.
No, you need to platform quite a bit. Moving back and forth and going up and down things. You need to platform quite a bit. To the point where the combat actually feels good in comparison. The combat doesn't feel that great either. But there is a surprising amount of shit to do in that combat that I was not expecting.
You get a lot of abilities and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, the big thing is like the set pieces.
Totally.
The horse thing that you're about to get to is pretty cool. And then the horse gets like really cool. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm just like
I'm telling you, this is the weirdest fucking description of a game I feel like I've heard since like Blood Dragon.
It is definitely weirder than Blood Dragon on every level. But like,
yeah, it's weirder than Blood Dragon.
Maybe less cohesive than Blood Dragon. Too.
That's the thing, yeah. If Blood Dragon was more like ethereal as opposed to just like, wow, we're gonna like throw up the horns. Even though this throws up the horns plenty of times.
It does.
To be fair. It's just taking like, this is a game where I just like kept stopping and taking screenshots because I was just like, I need to tweet what I'm looking at right now because this is absolute nonsense. I don't know if you guys saw either of the stuff.
I saw one of them. I'm trying to remember what it was exactly.
I tweeted something called like the pregnant program or something.
Oh my god!
I remember seeing that.
That thing is nightmare fuel. God, I hated that moment.
Like it was just you just like walk into a room and just that's there, and it was like, I don't even. What is? Okay.
It's a pregnant computer in labor, I think, or at least breathing heavy.
I don't know what that thing was, and then the other one was apart from the horse scene.
Okay.
It's funny, like the visuals, like everything is just like kind of dark and atmospheric, and then some of the stuff that people are saying is just the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fun. So again, this game's on Game Pass. I really recommend at least playing like 30 minutes because that'll get you to the first boss, who's also just a cool boss.
The boss fights are pretty fun. They're not too bad. Yeah. They're interesting.
I'm excited for what you're about to play.
And yeah, it's so weird because like it's punctuated like there's so what he's talking about these weird scenes of like 80s Japan or 70s Japan or something is there's these totems around the world where you can go into them to access the creator's memories. And the creator was born in Japan, or at least lived in, but born in Japan with a I think Asian mother and white father, or the other way around. And it was kind of an an outcast. And like the last memory I got, his mom was like dead on the floor or bleeding or something. Like it's going real bad for this kid in his memories. And these are just like, I'm having like a goofy fun time in this stupid world. And then it's just like, oh, that's really sad every now and then. So I don't know what's going on, but
it's a weird game. It is a weird game.
Oh, and the music is so good. it has no right being as good as it is. Holy
Music
shit.
is good for sure.
Yeah.
It like honestly is just like it's like such a weird game. It's like kind of special, and that's really what was drawing to me. Is like as I kept playing more of it, I was like, it's like something here. Like it's just like I just kind. It's like it's similar to like needing to watch the train wreck.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think this game's bad. It's just like I'm just like stuck staring at this. I just kind of need to keep watching what is happening.
Sure.
Like I just want to know more. Like 6 hours long, I think. So
oh wow.
I'm
Okay.
probably
Pretty
about
short.
half to maybe 2/3 of the way done.
Sure.
It's cool. I think it's really cool.
It is cool. The other one little nitpick I have about it, I don't like playing 2D platformers where I can't use the D-pad as movement because I hate using analog sticks for movement on those.
Oh, okay.
But whatever.
Sure.
It is what it. The reason being that the D-pad's used for other abilities. There's a shocking amount of abilities in that game.
Yeah, you get a lot. Yeah, uppercuts and stuff, and
yeah. That's all I've been playing.
Last week I came to this podcast and I said I finished Assassin's Creed. That's still true. I'm not going to go back on that. This week I come to you.
It hasn't changed.
Saying I have finished Bravely Default 2.
Nice.
So the shackles have been removed. I have now seen the credits in Bravely Default 4 times. I'm done. I did it.
Yeah, 4 times. What?
That's ridiculous.
There's no twist in that game. They just say like, that's the end of it. Here's the credits. Would you like to continue playing the rest of the game? You go, yeah. They do that 3 times, and then eventually you do the credits, and then it says, "Oh, Finn," and you actually know, all right, there isn't anything else. We're done.
What?
Interesting.
What a weird choice.
I don't know. I don't know why he would do it that way, not just like continue the story.
That's it. We ran out of story. Budget's over.
That's the thing. They didn't run out of story, but it's like I couldn't imagine like stopping after you hit the credits once. It's like the story's like nowhere close to being done. Why would you do this?
Is it a Nier kind of situation?
No.
Or is it not to that level?
No, Nier, because like you're not replaying the game over and over again. It's literally just, and then the game continues.
Oh yeah.
That's so
here's
weird.
Credits again. It's just you don't need to put the credits there. Yeah, it is
Does
silly.
It stick the landing? Are you glad you saw the story? Like
it doesn't sound like it does based on how he's reacting.
Does it stick any of the 4 landings?
Fourth
I mean, and I didn't exactly didn't think it was going to stick any landing because I don't really think it really got off the ground in any meaningful way because it's the most cookie cutter RPG story you could possibly think of. I get the 4 crystals, and you got to fight the big bad who they want the 4 crystals. You do that.
So it's a Final Fantasy game, which is basically what those were always trying to be.
Right, but the first 2 were a little more special. The first one entirely like had some a real cool twist in it. I don't remember what the twist.
I remember. Yeah.
I remember the twist in the first one. The second one, I don't remember what the twist was. I remember it had a twist, but I don't know. I don't think it is worth playing if you like RPGs. There is better RPGs to play. But now I'm in like the bad spot of like, if Bravely Default 3 comes out, I should play it because I've played them all. I should just keep it going. And that's kind of why I played
this is your Assassin's Creed issue where you're like, I've done all this work in the series. I got to keep this going now.
No, you're totally right. When Assassin's Creed 15 comes out this fall, I will pick it up. That'll be another 60 hours of my life. So just part of me has to do it. And part of me has to do that so that I can know.
So you can sleep at night.
Yeah, that's so. So that's done for now, and I'm happy about that.
Okay.
Another game I played, I played a game called Rain on Your Parade. This recently came out on Game Pass. It's about an hour long. You play a cloud. Well, actually, so you're a grandfather telling the grandson a bedtime story about a cloud on its way to Seattle.
Sure.
You go to various levels. I can't really think of a way to describe this It's like an isometric perspective, and you're a cloud, and you fly around, and you can rain on stuff. You can also absorb other liquids and then rain those liquids. So some of the levels will have you absorbing oil, and then if there's like a fire nearby, you can make a trail of fire and light everything on fire. And sometimes you need to do that. I don't for whatever reason, because you're a jerk. I think it's actually because you are a jerk, which actually makes sense. The game is called Rain on Your Parade. And a lot of the levels is get all the humans wet, spelt with 2 O's. So the game has a sense of humor. It has a lot of video game references. There's a Metal Gear Solid level in there, a Silent Hill level in there. There's a really long Legend of Zelda level in there.
Is this Donut County? Like that? Is this like just trying to ape that style? Everything you're saying about it sound like I'm actually picturing Donut County like visuals as you're saying this.
I guess visually it looks a little bit like a Donut County. There's no kind of game mechanic of like stuff building onto stuff or something getting bigger or grander while you're doing this. You just rain on things, and then the people are either wet, so they're running around, or the electricity sparks because it's got wet, something like that. So I wouldn't say exactly it plays any way like Donut County or a Katamari.
Okay.
That visually, if you looked 1-to-1, you would kind of get those vibes. But the closest thing I would say is maybe it's kind of as mindless and as easy to play as one of those games. There's no real fail state,
right,
for the most part. And there's each stage has multiple objectives where it's like, for example, there's a beach stage, and you have to get all the humans wet. And there's an angry sun floating around, and you can't get touched by the sun.
Okay.
Stuff like that. And then there's actually some boss stages where, what's the bad guy's name? It's like Dr. Dryspell, who only speaks in rhymes. He wants no moisture anymore. He doesn't want
I'm with him.
In the rain. He doesn't want showers. He doesn't want to sweat. So he doesn't like you, and he shoots you with lasers, and you have to like dodge his lasers in a few of the boss stages and whatnot as you make your way to Seattle. And you get new abilities. You get the ability to like shoot lightning because you're a cloud, and snow, and make tornadoes. It's silly. Like I said, the sense of humor is kind of fun, and it has some pretty good game references. It's on Game Pass if this sounds something up your alley. I don't exactly know if I would recommend it, but it is an hour to play through, so why not?
Sure.
A game I would recommend is The Complex, which is an FMV game. So that immediately piqued my interest when I came across that. This might just be personal taste, but when it comes to FMV games, I like my FMV games British with goofy characters. This has neither of them.
You just want contradiction again, is what you're saying.
For sure.
Dude, and to be fair, the star of contradiction, they put out a new game with him as the star.
Like a third one? Because he was the main character of another one too.
Shapeshifting Detective.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And he wasn't the main character in Shapeshifting Detective.
He was
right?
a character.
He was a character.
My mistake. Right, he's like your constable or something, like your chief.
Yeah, basically.
It was a pretty important character for what it's worth.
I wouldn't call him a main character, but he is important for sure. Yeah. He's in a new one. I forgot what it's called. It just came out like a month ago. Something like The Last Night or Dark Side of the Moon. That's what it's called.
I don't think I've even heard of that.
If you're looking for that specific actor, which you should, Dark Side of the Moon, maybe check that out.
Yeah, I haven't seen this at all. Okay.
There you go. Your next game. So the Complex doesn't have that. It is just like, I don't know, American straight shooting, which is fine. Like, they don't need to be super silly. This is for those who don't know, this is basically an interactive movie. Production value is pretty good. Like, the effects look pretty great. This is the place of you are a scientist in like an enclosed laboratory with a deadly virus. There's a patient in there with a deadly virus. You need to figure out what happened to her and whatnot. Then you and all the other scientists, stuff's happening. People are double crossing you. Blah blah blah. At the same time, your complex that you're in, the building is called the complex, is like under attack and people are coming for you. So there's like you got to work fast, yada yada, and you get to pick which options you want to go to, who do you want to help, and stuff like that. So if you like, visual novels, if you like walking simulator kind of stuff where there's not a lot of engagement, if you like FMV games, this might be for you. I would just say is not as goofy murder mystery as some of the other FMV games I've been playing lately.
This is this is produced by the people that do literally all the FMV games that aren't silly. Like what you were talking about sounded like one called The Bunker. They've done The Bunker. They did one called Late Shift. I Saw Black Clouds. It's all the same people apparently, so that makes sense. Okay. I like those, so maybe I'll check it out.
This is another one you can check out for sure. I will say my one kind of issue with it, actually, judging it kind of on its own, is I felt like a lot of the like branching paths really kind of only happen at the very end. A lot of the same stuff you're gonna do is like, you'll get a little bit of an extra scene, but we do need you to follow this path, and then near the end you can kind of pick something you want to do. There wasn't anything like vastly different when it comes to the endings. It's the story is pretty much the same no matter what, with a few different like, these people survived, so the information got out this way, or these people survived, so the information didn't get out. It doesn't go that wild.
Gotcha. Okay.
Great. So that's all I've been playing. So let's do some news. And we might as well start off with the Nintendo Indie Direct that happened.
I've been out of it this week. I have no idea what anything happened, so I tried to get a little ahead by reading ahead, but I didn't get very far.
Yeah, I feel like this one kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I didn't even realize there was going to be a Direct.
Announced it 1 or 2 days before, I believe, because I did definitely know about it beforehand. This was like this was one of their Nindies, although I don't think it's called Nindies anymore. I think they call it Indie World.
Yeah, it's Indie World.
Yeah, which is a bummer. Like, I thought Nindies was a pretty good name.
Yeah.
Anyway, so because it's a Nindies, there's not a lot of like big names here. There's no updates on Mario, but some cool stuff. I don't know if this article's in order, but regardless, Fez is coming to the Switch.
Neat.
I was kind of surprised Fez was not already on the Switch.
I thought Phil Fish left game development, so...
Yeah, I thought it was never coming to the Switch, so that's kind of surprising.
I have seen the Polytron Twitter account doing stuff with this. I don't know exactly who's at Polytron.
A PR guy just holding things
if you
together
remember
with
correctly,
tape.
Fez 2 technically announced.
You're right, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was never going to happen.
I'm so curious what someone playing Fez for the first time would be, because like I feel like what made Fez special is we were all finding it out slowly together, whereas now you could just look up the answers.
I feel like it's been so long that there's going to be people that know nothing about it, and they can kind of experience that fresh, though.
Totally.
Right. So, but they need like an enclosed space. They need to not use the What I saw, like Jeff Gersman tweeted this. What you need is like a Discord channel of people who like don't know anything about Fez. Only they're going to talk to each other. That would be the ideal scenario in 2021, right?
Sure.
Or trying to figure out yourself without looking online, just having some self-discipline. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like just being able to have part of that little zeitgeist of like, there's all these weird hidden symbols everywhere in the game. Can we figure out what it is? Can we figure out the language in it and everything?
Because there was something so cool when Fez first came out where it was like subreddits and people like, oh, we finally figured out this one puzzle that we've been working at for like months. This is what happens. And it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
This was a cool game for sure. Some other games announced, and some of them came out. One of them that came out that day was called The Longing, which apparently is part idle game where you have to wait 400 days to complete.
This came out last year, yeah.
Was this on Steam already?
Yeah, it's been out for a year now. I was gonna buy it. I remember
for 400 days.
I think it has. Wait, I mean, when did it come out? Let me look it up.
You're the
it
one.
Came out,
I didn't know it was out beforehand.
It came out real early last year, so it might legitimately have been 400 days. March 5th.
The 400th day. We got to be somewhere around.
We're close.
That's very close.
We're
that's
very
extremely
close.
Very close. Maybe the 400th day was the Switch announcement.
He's in March 5th, right? 2020.
Yeah, March 5th, 2020.
Like a website where you can subtract like the dates from each other.
406 days.
Interesting. So the 400th days. So I guess some people know how this ends.
Right? Interesting.
It's called The Longing, if this sounds interesting to you. Another game coming to the Switch is There Is No Game Wrong Dimension.
That was an honorable mention on my Game of the Year last year. That game is fucking awesome.
I was playing it on my phone and then I got sidetracked by stuff, but I do plan to get back to that. I'm assuming it'll have all the touchscreen stuff as the phone has.
Probably.
That's cool. Chris Tales got a release date of July 20th.
So far.
So yeah, I hope that's the release date for all the consoles, because I believe that's a Game Pass title.
Oh, is it? I think you might be right.
That game still looks incredible.
Yep. Sure.
I'm trying to see if there's any other kind of big names. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game got announced for Switch.
Okay.
Had been.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Ollie World was shown off. A couple games from Annapurna Interactive. Which always excites me. And then their One More Thing, which I'm kind of surprised this game warranted a One More Thing. They announced Oxenfree 2.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I like Oxenfree a whole bunch. I'm surprised it gets a One More Thing announcement.
I kind of feel like Fez is more of a One More Thing over Oxenfree 2.
Yeah, I could have seen that for sure. Yeah, I agree. There was a whole bunch of other games announced and shown.
Yeah.
House of the Dead remake, sure. Yeah, if there's any things that you guys want to call out.
I'm trying to read this article. This is not in any order, so...
Going after every single image, at least on my screen, there's an ad.
Getsu Fumaden, which is a sequel to a Famicom game that Konami made.
Nice, yeah.
Weird pull out of nowhere.
I think I saw some people tweeting about this.
I saw a tweet going around yesterday of the fact that apparently they announced both Ollie and Oxenfree in that direct.
Yes, that's true. Yep,
that's pretty good.
Yep. That's a cute thing they snuck in there.
Aztec Forgotten Gods. Okay. What else do we got here? Why can't they? Oh, Skull the Hero Slayer. People should check that game out. That game is very good.
Yeah, that's already out on Steam, though.
Yeah, that's out. Interesting. Getsu Fumaden, I'm looking forward to.
The art style on it looks really nice. It's just a surprise out of nowhere, considering A, it's Konami, and B, they haven't touched that since the Famicom, really. They'll throw like references here and there in some of the games, like that multiplayer Castlevania game had a stage that was DLC, was that entire game, but yeah, otherwise they haven't really given it any heed.
I can't tell from the screenshots here, because I can't load up video while we do this, what Aztec Forgotten Gods is play style-wise. Third-person action game? Maybe?
I believe so.
These are some pretty weird screenshots of nothing. So
I believe it was kind of pixel arty side-scrolling.
I'm so happy that kids can suffer like G did now. I'm excited.
That's the sequel.
No, I'm thinking of Skull. Never mind. I forget.
Yeah, Skull's a cool game. Okay, cool. What's this Ubisoft thing?
Ubisoft announced their next live stream, their E3 live stream.
Oh,
Ubisoft Forward, June 12th at 12 p.m. Pacific time, which is the first day of E3, 12th to 15th.
Oh, okay.
I pulled this one for you guys. There's a new Picross S game.
I saw this.
I'm still playing the Hatsune Miku one.
Same.
So.
Yep. That game is really good. I'm actually pretty surprised at how good it is. I'm liking it.
Up across S6. I believe it is out now.
Great.
The whole series.
April 22nd.
Okay, out next week from
Yes.
today. The whole series is on sale at the moment.
Oh, cool.
Deathloop got delayed to September.
Oh, okay. When was it supposed to come out originally?
Originally, last year.
Yeah, and then the latest update, I believe, was May.
May.
Yeah, and now it's October. Did we skip the PS5 one?
Yeah. PlayStation 5 got its first major console update, as they called it. You can now put hard drives, plug in external hard drives. You cannot play games off of them.
You could already plug in external hard drives, though. I have one on my PS5.
You put PS5 games on it?
No, that's the thing. I couldn't.
Okay. So that's what this can do now. Okay. Again, you can't play them off there, but you could hold them there and then transfer them over, which would be faster than re-downloading it. I think it's a really niche use case.
Yeah.
For why you'd want to do that.
Yeah. Huh.
Also need to you also can't download directly to the hard drive. You have to download onto the internal and then move it over. So you need to have space on both if you're planning on putting it on the external at some point.
Okay.
This current generation sucks.
I was asking my friend who uses an external drive on the Series X, because I actually don't know how the Series X handles that one. If you can download directly to it or not. I haven't tried that out either. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more streamlined than PlayStation's, since most stuff seemed to be at this point.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure you can.
They're also updating a few different UI things. The game base, where it shows your friends list and your parties, is making more sense and stuff like that. Game update. You can now pre-download game updates.
Okay.
Much like how you can pre-download games. Now, if there's a scheduled patch, you can pre-download it before the patch is live. Okay. Sure. We're making a new trophy section, which is great because the current trophy section is pretty much non-existent. And a couple other smaller things coming as well. This is out already, by the way. It came out like 2 days ago. All right, this last news story is a kind of interesting one involving some of how much money Epic has been making with the Epic Games Store in the last year or so. Typically, we don't kind of get these numbers, but as the article points out, because they're having their battle with Apple, Apple is divulging some of the numbers that they're privy to and whatnot, I guess. There's a reason to like fight back against Epic's demands. I'll start off with this headline. Epic will lose over $300 million on the Epic Game Store exclusives and is fine with that. So they basically came out and said this is how much money Epic has paid for their exclusives. That number is $444 million. And they do like, hey, we'll give you this much money regardless of how much it sells at first, just to lock it down for a year off of Steam. At the moment, they've never made that back. They don't expect to become profitable in that way until 2027, which is pretty interesting.
27?
When they think that it'll finally change.
Okay.
Keep in mind, though, the company is profitable. Epic said that players have spent $700 million in the Epic Store. But in terms of that $444 million in advances to third parties, they've only gotten about $265 million back. At the moment, the exclusives are a sunk cost. But I'm sure, as we can see, Fortnite is paying for it, so they're fine.
Yeah.
Just kind of interesting to see some of these numbers that we don't always get. And it's pretty crazy how much Fortnite funds everything Epic can do and why Epic can do some of the craziest like market share plays.
Yeah.
That does make me worry though. Like, are they gonna last to that point? Because there's no Fortnite's popular, but is it another 7 years popular?
Who knows? I mean, they wouldn't do it if they didn't think they could do it. So we will see, I guess. All right, that does it for news. If people would like to send in questions, our next segment, which is called Questions, you can do so at topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. You can read this first one from Cody. Do you think there should be a how long to beat feature built into console UI? Something that can track player data with consent and give people an idea of how long they can expect to be playing, or should we stick to howlongtobeat.com?
Sony's kind of doing that with the PS5 right now because the trophies give you a rough estimate of how long they're going to take to accomplish. So as a result, you can kind of follow the trail of what they mentioned to be like, okay, roughly this is how long it would take to beat the game, or like 100% the game.
Well, actually, they go even more granular because they have activities.
Oh, you're right. You can specifically like, all right, this part of this game I want to see.
Exactly. And those are like kind of crowdsourced based on how long players have took. And those can get down to things like how long does this mission take? Or they can go up to trophies. How long does this trophy typically take people to do? Can't really speak for how prevalent those are. I only remember seeing them in Astro's Playroom and Miles Morales. Those are also some of the only games I really play on my PlayStation 5. There's not a lot of games I've used that console for at the moment. So I haven't yet seen if third parties have really grasped that, or if just the first parties have really kind of done that. But yeah, you're right. The PlayStation 5 has something similar. I would love it to be built into the UI. However, then we would miss out on like multi-platform stats. So there would still be kind of a place for how long to beat.
Sure.
Yeah. But it like how long to beat depends entirely on like user submission anyways. Like it has to be manually entered, so you're only really gonna get the people that care about tracking that in the first place that use it, versus like the console doing that more or less automatically.
Yeah, I would love it. I have found with how long to beat that it usually is pretty accurate, at least in terms of like how fast I get through games. And the worst case, it gives me a rough estimate of like what am I getting myself into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love if I could just on a system level be like, even if I'm only getting like the Xbox players, how long is this game typically? Still a useful bit of information that I didn't have to pull my phone out to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use how long to beat a fair amount. I love it, and I would love more games having that kind of information.
Totally. Okay, next question from Kevin. What are some of the best video game soundtracks with vocals? There's a lot. Everything Darren Korb does that has vocals is fucking great. Good Riddance and In the Blood from Hades, specifically.
That's what I thought of initially, is every soundtrack from Supergiant. Those ones stuck out to me immediately.
Yep.
See, I feel bad because the first thing that jumped to mind for me was Parappa the Rapper.
Okay. I love Parappa. Oh, I'm in. Yeah. From the Metal Gear series, I love Snake Eater, obviously, but the best is yet to come at the end of Metal Gear Solid. Has a special place in my heart. Room of Angel from Akira Yamaoka and Silent Hill 4 is one of my favorite songs from that whole series. Still Alive is great from Portal, even though it was overplayed and overdone.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like Want You Gone as well. It's not as good as Still Alive, but it's still pretty good.
I mean, we're Joko fans, so like, of course, we love those. Yeah. The Tetris Effect song is great.
Yeah, I kind of like all of Mizuguchi's music, and those usually always have vocals in them. Sure.
I don't know the names of the songs, but Persona 4 has some fucking bangers, and 5 as well.
Nier Automata has some pretty good songs with vocals.
Yep.
13 Sentinels had like one or two with vocals.
That like punctuate some of the best parts.
No, for sure. Like they're in there on purpose. That's kind of the weird thing is when I think of like soundtracks for games, it's usually like, well, 95% of the soundtrack doesn't have vocals, but there's like one ending song with vocals, and like, yeah, that song rocks.
It hits hard. Yeah.
It's like, does that count? It's like primarily not a vocal track game, and most games don't have full vocals throughout the point, because that would just be distracting.
That Simple and Clean song from Kingdom Hearts has some of the best remixes on SoundCloud by aspiring rappers ever. So there's that.
Take your word for it. Never heard
it. Matthew writes in and says, I work as a college tutor, and one time I went over a probability concept called expected value by showing how Bowser is the statistically best character to play as in Super Mario Party because he has the highest expected value of his personal dice, which means on average, he manages to travel the most distance, meaning he can usually reach the star space sooner and more frequently. Sorry, John, but Space Princess has the second worst personal dice, beating only Hammer Brothers. Yeah, because she has zeros on her dice, from what I remember. What sort of gameplay example would you use to teach a concept? Games that are intended to actually teach something don't count. Tetris is pattern recognition. Games like puzzle games like that.
Sure.
There's probably something similar to this expected value with Tetris as well, since those come in a certain pattern, right? Based on, they're not random, right? It's random, but within order.
Certain rule sets. Yeah, modern Tetris is like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can kind of game the system a little bit that way. When you're like hoping for the line.
Obviously, stuff like Sim City, where they can teach you like actual city planning and stuff like that.
I don't know if anyone actually learned city planning from SimCity.
Well, okay, most people who played it didn't, but it can be used for that.
Sure, yeah, maybe, yeah. I feel like there's tons of games now that teach programming some way.
Sure.
Was that like Project Spark game on like the 360, I think, or maybe it was Xbox One.
That's Xbox One, because that was the one with that Conquer that everyone got upset about.
It's like a programming kind of game.
What's the one that Double Fine put out about like changing the game by technically changing the programming of it?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Pretty sure it was Double Fine.
Are you referring to Happy Action Theater, the Connect game from Double Fine, where you can pretend you're in lava?
Hack and slash.
I didn't know there was anything programming related in that one.
The in-game weapons and objects allow the player to hack the game's world to achieve victory.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah, Baba Is You is a great one for anything by Zachtronics. Zachtronic 2 is also those are just programming games, like how code works and like using different variables to change outcomes and shit like that, for sure.
Yeah, nothing else springing to mind. All right, next one from, I am going to butcher this name pronunciation. Bellamy is my guess, and there's no way that's right. Throughout my gaming years, I've always been open to try out games from multiple genres and can get around most of them. The exception to this has been first-person shooters. Try as I might, I always had a problem with aiming at people, and my reflexes aren't that great for those games. The only first-person shooter I've been able to really get into are the Borderlands games, and they don't emphasize the shooter mechanics as much. As such, could you recommend me some first-person shooters that are beginner-friendly? Also, what are some genres that you find yourself not being able to gel with?
I mean, Overwatch, if you want competitive, is the way to go. There's only like a couple of characters where you actually need to be able to aim. The rest have like abilities to support the team, essentially.
Okay, sure. Yeah, good. I did not think of Overwatch. I was trying to think of like more narrative ones that
I was thinking Half-Life, because Half-Life 1 doesn't require too much intense shooting.
Yep, agreed. Portal as well. puzzly.
Portal's a pretty good one.
Portal requires some reflexes on some of those shots, though. That's the only downside.
Yeah. Yeah,
but otherwise, more just like set up the portals and then.
There are a few that I remember as you're flying, you need to like set up another portal or something. Like I do remember a couple like those. So depending how your reflexes are, that could be really frustrating. But if they're like standard or whatever, you could probably get away with it.
The nice thing about Portal though is if you like miss your shot, you're not gonna like take damage and get killed by the people who are shooting at you. You just try again. I think Portal's a really good answer. I don't know if it's a shooter, but you are doing this. It's mechanically the same.
Sure.
It is a first person game with a gun, so I would argue, it is essentially a first person shooter.
I was going to say, and maybe just like set it on easy. And this is something where it's like maybe the story, just how good of a game will kind of pull you through if you're not gelling with the first person shooter part of it. But Titanfall 2 is the best first person shooter that has ever been made.
Titanfall 2 is very good. That's true.
Maybe just set it to like super easy. I was trying to think of more kind of narrative ones that have the like Mass Effect option of like, oh, I want to play this narrative style so that it gets really easy.
Sure.
No, Mass Effect's not a first person shooter. But I know it has that.
What do we feel about something like Super Hot, where you kind of take it on your own? It's only as like hard as you make it, essentially. Usually, you can think.
It still does require some reflexes, but it does give you more time to think things through.
Yeah,
like you still need accuracy.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good one because at no point do you like really need to like, I got to make sure I spin around really quick and shoot this guy. Like you can take it as slow as you want. It definitely gets harder, and that new one that came out, never even beat it because I kind of just got frustrated. And Control Delete, that one gets pretty hard.
Okay.
But I think Super Hot's a pretty good example for sure. Yeah.
BioShock on an easy, like if you're gonna just look for a narrative experience, set it down to easy, play through BioShock. Nice atmospheric game.
Yeah, and that might be.
There's a bunch of shooters like that. Like, was it Spec Ops: The Line had something like that too, didn't it?
Like an easy or narrative mode or something.
Like a story narrative mode. Yeah.
I remember Spec Ops: The Line's being pretty like typical first-person shooter. It just happened to have a pretty wild story, but like the ending part is pretty difficult. Like there's a lot of guys you're shooting, but there could be like an easy mode. I don't recall. The BioShock one I think is actually pretty good to tie close to Borderlands because you can kind of focus on the powers more.
I mean, if they're getting into Borderlands because they don't emphasize shooter and stuff like that, that opens up. Like, it doesn't sound like their reflexes are really that bad. It's just that they don't want like to have to shoot heads and like to win a match or something. Like, you could play Destiny alone at your own pace. You could play a lot of like single player stuff. You could play Doom on easy. A lot of games single player are.
Chat mentions good. Aim assist can also help, so that depends on the game too. But yeah.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with playing on easy.
For sure, yeah. I mean, if third-person shooters could be added, going off of Borderlands, I would have said like, well, if you like having weird powers, Outriders is kind of similar to Borderlands. And then from Outriders, I would go to Gears of War, or I go to The Division. Those are hop, step, and a jump.
For sure.
I'm actually kind of curious if this person has similar issues with third-person shooters. At the end of the day, you're still looking at the reticle. You just happen to be looking over someone's shoulder. But I don't know if it impacts them differently. Like I'd be curious to know.
Also, maybe it's one of those things where like they can like aim and shoot a thing fine, but if your reflexes aren't good and you're playing a competitive shooter, you're dead. If you're playing against like a computer or whatever on an easier thing, usually you'll have like an overshield that takes damage and you can kind of like hide, or like you'll heal or something like that, in which case most shooters you could probably play fine.
Oh, you mean like that one mech in Titanfall 2 that has the barrier and then you shoot the bullets right back at it?
Like, legitimately, if you can play any type of single-player shooter, you should play that game's single-player campaign, for sure.
Everyone owes it to themselves to play through Titanfall 2.
For sure. Suku. There's a lot of games we can call greatest of all time, like Ocarina of Time or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, specific, but haven't aged perfectly due to hardware limitations. What about the opposite? What are some games from 2 decades ago or more that would become instant hits if released today?
The Tony Hawk thing is there because those are the 2 highest rated games on Metacritic, both Ocarina of Time and Tony Hawk 2.
So they're 2 of the greatest games of all time. Like,
critically acclaimed, yeah. 2 of the greatest critically acclaimed games.
So games from 2 decades or more ago that would become instant hits if they released today. I'm going to go ahead and say if Mario World just came out, that would be fucking amazing. Because I want just like an old SNES style Mario game again.
I'm curious, do you think anything involving like checkpoints or lives would have it get hit?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so
like maybe
because they're asking here is they're asking games that still age fine.
Yeah,
so like,
pretty much.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's not a hardware limitation, but that's the only thing I could think of with World. I also do think World it would be probably one of the answers. I'm just curious if maybe that would come up.
Gotcha.
See, in my mind, it's more so RPGs that are coming up, like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, etc.
Sure.
To that, the updates I would think that a lot of RPGs have now is they have some kind of like auto battle system or a way to speed up the combat that a lot of RPGs from back then did not have.
The re-release of Final Fantasy IX put in a way to change like the encounter rate and speed up battles and stuff like that. So that, in my mind, like games that kind of had a kind of a middling response back then, like Final Fantasy VIII, now might be considered better because they're just so unique in a way.
Do you think Chrono Trigger, like, I think the story would probably help it stand for sure?
Yeah.
What I feel like if it doesn't feel aged is the thing that would kind of hold it back.
What are some games that when they came out, it was kind of like, this is really like thinking ahead, but man, this runs like shit because it's a Nintendo 64 and not like something that can handle what they're trying to do here. Like, are there any games that are just like, I remember this running like shit and I bet it would have been dope on just like good hardware?
I don't know, because I think of stuff like, I think of Star Fox and like the draw distance sucks.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too.
But we wouldn't have known any better back then, right? So I wasn't sitting there being like, I wish this was on better hardware, because I didn't know what better hardware was. For all I knew, this was the best it's ever going to be.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to look like this.
Yeah, true. So stupid. So I just really want a Rhythm Heaven game again. Just release one of those.
Okay.
Just do that with new hardware.
You're done with this question. You just wanted to let us know you want to. I'm there with you. I would love a Rhythm Heaven game.
If Rhythm Heaven came out on the Switch right now, I'd be into it. Yeah.
I want a new Rhythm Heaven, and I want a new WarioWare, because like the last WarioWare we got was just a greatest hits, and it was also on the 3DS, and it's like, what are you doing? So we need that. Paul, do you want to read this?
Yeah.
Second question.
Second question from Suku. Pac-Man's been in a lot of weird games. What's his core identity, would you reckon? His core identity?
He's hungry.
You're talking like his personality?
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, hungry.
Hungry adventurer.
Sure.
Okay. Where do you get the adventurer from? Because I wouldn't get that
all
from this
all the other Pac-Man games, basically.
Yeah.
Like we're playing Pac-Man World on Mondays right now, and that's really just running around trying to like going through different areas like space and that, trying to save Ms. Pac-Man and everyone else.
Did they ever give Pac-Man a voice?
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of cartoons.
Okay, I mean, I haven't not watched the Pac-Man cartoon.
Well, I mean, like the Pac-Man cartoon had like 2 video games, the most recent one.
Okay, so how would you describe his? Does he have a personality? Like
hungry.
I would like. Does Mario have a personality? Like Mario is what?
Italian.
Yeah, true.
Italian. I don't know. Would you call Pac-Man like? Would you call Pac-Man a hero?
No.
At his core identity, no.
Okay. Oh, like, or would you? So, are you saying he's a reluctant hero, or you just would not call Pac-Man a hero?
He's more like the everyman.
Is he like a Mario? He's also definitely middle-aged.
Mario's more of a hero than Pac-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, Pac-Man,
Pac-Man kind of like...
I would say reluctant hero because he's just kind of living his life and these ghosts keep bothering him. And then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, the city's under attack. I guess I should also deal with this.
I would say
I'm the only one who knows how to fight ghosts.
I would say brave. I played Pac-Man 3D in first person. That shit is fucking scary. Every time you turn a corner, there might be a ghost there.
Would you kind of compare him, or how would he compare to Link from Ocarina of Time, where you're just chilling and then one day you have to go check on something and it's like, hey, I need you to save the world, buddy.
He's much hungrier.
Like, okay.
Link never eats.
Okay.
I like how he's just naturally associated with hunger and food at this point. It's just like,
yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
He likes dots. What, I don't know what that is. What's the caloric value of a dot?
It's like a cracker. I like to think that they're just like saltines.
Okay, then what's a power pellet?
Water. You ever eat that many saltines without water?
I was gonna say like a packet of flavoring.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
So it's like the cinnamon challenge. That's not
exactly.
good. That's not gonna make you powerful.
No, but you're like factual flavor. Oh no, I feel alive. A tiny bit of salt has brought my taste buds alive.
He has plenty of salt if he's eating saltines.
True.
I'm thinking like the dill pickle seasoning you put on like popcorn.
Oh, I love that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think like dude does need some water, and the cherries are not going to be enough moisture for this guy. Okay, so then here's the question: is how would you differentiate the personalities of Kirby and Pac-Man?
Kirby shows actual concern for the things around him. He just also really likes food.
So is Pac-Man just like the Hulk? Like he just has one-track mind, and it's just eat.
You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry.
Like, you don't want to see me when I'm hungry.
Yeah. It's my secret. I'm always hungry. Power pellet.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe he's the villain. Maybe he killed those people, and now that's why there's ghosts, and he's being haunted.
Yeah, true.
I raided a supermarket. Now they're trying to get me.
Yeah. Probably the game is like black background. They're trying to tell you he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
VGC Kenny writes in and says, Sonic Movie 2 ends. The post-credit scene starts. Everyone's expecting Knuckles, and they get him. But it's not just Knuckles. Oh no. I read the rest of the question. Someone else is there with him. Is that John Leguizamo as Luigi? Yup, they're finally following up on the Super Mario Brothers movie after all this time by joining it up with Sonic. What is your reaction? And if you're writing the script, do you get someone to replace Bob Hoskins, or do you write it so that Mario is dead as well? How do you have a Mario movie without Mario? No.
Yeah, no. Rest in peace, Mario.
Also, Bob Hoskins hated that movie, so I don't think he would care if he was replaced.
I'm sure he wishes he could go back in time and replace himself with someone else for that role.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Okay. First of all, my reaction is, what the fuck?
Doesn't it just turn into like the Smash Brothers movie at that point?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no, it turns into an Olympics
movie. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. My mistake.
Yeah.
Or is it just like a weird the universe just broke? You know, John Leguizamo just showed up, and you're like, whoa, what is John Leguizamo doing in my Sonic the Hedgehog movie? And you look to your left, Another John Leguizamo.
Oh no.
Shit. Bellboy comes by. John Leguizamo. What's going on? You look down at yourself. Name tag. John Leguizamo.
You just want being John Malkovich. That's all you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they would never do anything like that.
Of course, they're not going to do it.
But I mean, like they could do like the animated tie-in since they're already working on a Mario movie.
I feel like you don't do that until the Mario movie has come out. You don't start Mario in the Sonic movie. I don't think Nintendo would allow that.
That's a good point.
No, they wouldn't. They totally wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd probably just be like, Luigi, man, you're too good for this. Get out of there, man. Jump back in the portal. Took a wrong turn.
Although I do agree with Sean, it'd be kind of amazing if it was just like, this is now an Olympic movie sequel instead.
Yeah.
So then, like who else would show up? You got Eggman,
well, you need
the
Bowser.
Cat, Bowser. So Bowser would have to be there. You'd get the Jamaican bobsled team.
Yep.
The cool running sequel we never knew we wanted.
You would definitely want that. Who else is in the Olympic? How about Hermes from Futurama? He was an Olympic
yeah. Limboer, yeah.
I want him to be there. Limboing for that little boy up in heaven. Okay. I'll read this next one. It's good that it landed on me. Rasterman writes in, I'd like the host to do this mini questionnaire. Is it a Pokemon or a big data tech? And I'm fine.
What?
Is it a Pokemon or is it the name of like big data company, I guess, tech?
So
I'll ask you two because I probably have a better chance of actually guessing these.
Okay.
You two have to agree on what you think it is because the way it is it's going to give me the name and you two have to decide what you're going with. Is it big data or is it Pokemon? You ready?
Yeah.
Arvados.
What?
Say that again.
Arvados. Do you want me to use it in a sentence?
I almost want you to spell it out because I cut out a little bit as you were saying.
Okay, I'll spell it out. Arvados. Arvados. I can use it in a sentence. If you want, I can make up a history of it. The word.
I feel like that's not a Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it's big data as well.
Okay. Arvados is big data.
Okay. Is that it?
This is stupid. Geodude.
That's it. It was only one question.
Oh, Geodude's a Pokemon. It's one of my favorite from that gen.
Come on. Yeah.
I know, that's why I was like, fuck off. Spoink.
That's a Pokemon.
Is it? Okay, I'll agree. Sure.
It's a pig.
It sounds like a pig.
Spoink is a Pokemon. Dupe.
Dupe?
A dupe.
A dupe?
What?
I will put it in the chat for you guys.
Okay. Hadoop.
I'm pretty sure that's big data.
Sure,
but I'm
I'll
not
agree.
100%.
Big data?
Okay.
Yep.
Dupe is big data. It's a distributed system for counting words.
That would probably be why I've seen it before. Okay.
I'll keep saying it and giving you in the chat as well.
Okay.
Zaril.
Oh, that's a Pokemon. Yeah.
Glazian.
I would
Data.
Yeah, I would assume data as well.
That's data. Seems like it's too easy. Okay, we'll do two more.
Okay.
Pala.
That's a car.
That's a car.
Oh, big data then?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Querying big data is too slow. Impala has a solution for it. It's built on C++.
Nice.
Okay. Titan.
Man, that's so many things.
Yeah, there's no way that's just the name of a Pokemon.
That's
so
too
data.
Yeah, that's too basic.
Oh, at this Bitcoin, I would almost say, but I'm gonna say big data.
Big data.
Big data.
That's too basic to
All
be
right,
Pokemon.
Last one. Akiban.
I could see that being a Pokemon, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that is a big data because I feel like I've heard Akiban as a brand before.
Okay, I'll go with him.
Data. Yep. So you guys got it all right.
Great.
Would have gotten that too. Those are pretty easy as far as I'm concerned.
Sure. All right. Linebeck.
Where are we? Okay.
How did you first hear about the internet, and what was one of the first things you used it for? AOL and chat rooms.
Nintendo Power used to advertise Camp Hyrule. So I
Okay.
went to Nintendo.com and tried to figure out how to be a part of that.
And was there a Canadian version of Camp Hyrule?
Yes, but it only ran in the summer, and I only had access to the internet at school. So
Okay.
Where was?
I'm surprised there's a Canadian one. Was it in like Toronto?
No, it was just the same website. Like it was a website
okay.
camp, not an actual like go to this location.
Got it. Okay. I don't know when the first I heard about it. It was just kind of there. For first things I used it for, Neopets.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Dedinsky says, do you ever find the circumstances surrounding a game can taint your experience with an overall game? Yes, 100%.
Yep.
For example, I can't have much fun with Cards Against Humanity after it came out that The Office had an extremely racist and sexist culture because of how closely the humor embedded in the game is related to those actions. That's not surprising considering how racist some of those cards are.
Yeah.
And this is just like the age-old question is, can you separate like an artist from the art, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, a lot of that stuff doesn't bother me too much when it comes to, like, it's weird because it's not that has an effect, but it's not usually enough to draw me away. It's usually the opposite for me, where I will respect a game more if I know the company is good, but like I kind of expect every company to be shitty, so like it doesn't usually taint my experience with it in that sense.
Your expectations are already low enough that it doesn't bother you after a while.
Pretty much, yeah. When it comes to like company stuff, when like if it's like a personal circumstance surrounding a game, that taints my experience with it or whatever. Like there's some games I can't play because it reminds me of a friend that like died or something. Like, you know what I mean? That's a bit different.
Yeah, I feel for the most part I can separate them. I can't think of a lot where I was just like, well, I'm never going back to this.
Yeah.
Because that dude's a racist. I might think twice before the next time, like if I'm buying a sequel, knowing the money's going right to them.
Yeah. True.
But for the most part, like I think I do personally still engage with the art. It's just kind of the knowledge, like I don't like this person, you know, I wish I wasn't supporting them. I mean, for whatever reason, and maybe that sucks for me. I feel like everyone kind of has to make their own decision on that stuff, and it's going to be a case by case basis.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely have found that there's like games and media that I've been like, yeah, no, I don't want to really enjoy this anymore because of that. Like I used to listen to Bill Cosby all the time, and then as soon as all that shit came out, I'm like, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I get the art versus artist argument, but I feel like there is a point, there's a line, there's like a definitive line that's different per person, but usually all ends up around the same point of like, no, after that part, no.
It is.
Yeah, I wish I had a better example of something I could think of where I was into something that got so horribly. And I mean, I guess you know, I'm into Cards Against Humanity. Like every now and then, like I'll still play that game. I still have fun when I play that game with my friends.
It's a little weird when it comes to games.
There's still good memories associated with too, which is the other thing. So.
It's weird when it comes to games because there's more than one person usually making a game. With Bill Cosby, he's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy and everything he does. With like people that like some content creators is like, that guy's a piece of shit, fuck everything he does. It's very much just like, that person sucks, fuck them. But like when it comes to a game thing, it's like, well, every developer probably has like somebody in the office that's like a huge fucking racist, right? Statistically, when it comes to a big AAA title, I don't know, it gets weirdly hard at some point to know or pay attention to that stuff when it comes to things multiple people touch.
But I could also, you know, just think. I'm trying to think of like a company where I don't
Won't
like their
support them.
practice, whatever. Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily that, but like just like an example, and one that jumps to mind is like Riot. We keep
Okay.
hearing like crazy shit coming from Riot.
I was gonna say Naughty Dog, but I guess I see. Yeah, Riot's not the
Yeah,
good
Naughty Dog was
example.
another example. That one didn't jump to mind. But that's an example. I feel like Riot has had much more examples than Naughty Dog has had.
Yeah.
But you know, so I think of like Riot, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not a League of Legends player. Would I not play League of Legends because of what I know going on in that company? And it's like, well, I also know there are good people at that company.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
then it turns into an issue of like, so is it a scenario where it's like, well, if the product they make is good enough, it's a pass? That kind of sucks to say. It's hard. It's a hard
It's
question.
hard.
Like, it's like it's definitely not a black and white answer, and it's like a if I'm looking at like the gray space is like larger than the black and white space by far.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's such a personal thing for sure.
Yeah.
Sean, I think it's yours.
Oh, I thought it was yours.
I just
Okay.
read that one.
Oh, you're right. Yep. Rinku, what's a cover of a song you prefer over the original?
I like Less Than Jake's I Think I Love You more than the original.
I have a soft spot for Alien Ant Farm's Smooth Criminal.
Okay, sure. Man, that was big for like a year. It was everywhere.
I don't really have an answer. I don't listen to a lot of covers.
Yeah.
And a lot of the music I listen to, they'll often like cover pop songs, but in more of like a kind of a harder like screamo version, and I'm never really into those.
Yeah.
Shoot, what's that? Take On Me by Real Big Fish. I really like that version.
Oh, actually, that's a pretty good one.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that in a long time, but yeah, I like that one. So, Gerard Way and the Used covered Under Pressure. Liked that. David Bowie and Queen.
All right, final question from Elita1234. With the next few weeks, I'm going to have a dental procedure. I'm told I can listen to music as it's being done. What's your recommended video game soundtrack to listen to make that time fly by?
Wait, you're going to be... Oh, okay. It's not serious enough that they're going to knock you out, but you're going to listen to music while it's happening?
It's
Interesting.
probably something where they're going to like numb a region and then do some work. So it's going to take a while, but they're allowed to listen to stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that would have been nice for some of the dental stuff I've had done.
I've even had that option. I think I had that option when I got my braces on. Said, do what, you know, you can listen to stuff if you want. It was just going to take a while for them to glue each like thing to my teeth.
Right.
I don't think I ended up doing that. But I think it was offered to me. Honestly, I'd probably just listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knocked me out for my wisdom teeth, so that's why I'm just like,
wisdom teeth, yeah.
go to sleep.
Right. I mean, that's like a surgery. That's
a
serious thing. So this just comes down to, what's your favorite video game soundtrack? The answer is Shatter.
Payday and Bionic Commando Rearmed.
Good. Crypt of the Necrodancer in the chat. Yep. Fantastic
Necrodancer's
soundtrack.
Good choice.
The Legend of Zelda Crypt of the Necrodancer, also very good.
Oh yeah.
God Hand.
I probably do Mega Man music, especially like metal covers of Mega Man music, because I've heard
Final Fantasy.
I've heard the sound of like teeth crunching and stuff. You want something that drowns it out for sure.
The Messenger is very good.
Messenger, yep.
Scott Pilgrim is very good.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would listen to a podcast.
Sure.
That's going to do it for questions. If you would like to send in a question next week, it's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What is your game of the week?
Kaze and the Wild Masks.
I forgot what I played.
Bunch of broken shit.
Yeah, bunch of broken shit. I guess Kunai.
Oh.
And mine's going to go to Outriders.
Sure.
So I thought before we do outro, I thought about it. Podcast might not be the best idea when you're doing a dental procedure, because what happens if you hear something funny and start laughing?
What happens if you start hearing some good music and you start singing?
Yeah.
I feel you probably won't be able to, because your mouth is numb and open.
True.
I don't know, man. Get to that high part and take on me, and you just got to belt it out. That's the rule.
I feel like with someone's hands and tools in your mouth, you're probably. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that.
So then you listen to like Serial or something, just like about like a murder.
And then you won't laugh.
You'll cry instead, and they'll think something's gone wrong.
And you get to like the happy ending, and they solved it. Yeah. Oh.
Have fun, Ailita.
I don't. Oh, the submission thread should be live. I'm gonna do that after we're done recording, but that's supposed to go up today, right?
I guess so.
So I'm going to put that up after this. So if you're a $10 patron, you can go submit a game for next month. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.